everybody, and welcome back to the HabWrap. I am your host, Harry Rice. You are listening to the friendliest and funniest source for anything and everything Montreal Canadiens. And today, April 5th, 2026, marks the day that the Montreal Canadiens clinched a spot in the NHL Playoffs. 2 years in a row, we're going to the dance, baby. And 2 years in a row, we were not expected to. What a fantastic day it was for the Canadiens fans. The game that we did play was, it was a hockey game. That much can be said. But, before we do talk about the game, the Minnesota Wild played the Detroit Red Wings. They started, I believe it was at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. They started. It was another instance of basically all-day hockey. I kind of love the NHL doing this on the weekend, having all-day hockey. It wasn't as bad as yesterday. There was freaking 15 games spread throughout the day. It was just 7, so you could mostly watch all the games that you wanted. But yeah, Minnesota Red Wings was the early game, and the Wild won it. They went up 4-1 early in the third, I believe it was. The Red Wings managed to come back, and they still choked it because the Wild, with just a minute and a half left, Kirill Kaprizov, with his 43rd goal of the year, the absolute GOAT, clinching the game for the Canadiens, and probably more importantly for him, just getting the win, but helping the Montreal Canadiens big time, because the Ottawa Senators somehow would defeat the Carolina Hurricanes later that night. And the Canadiens game we'll talk about in a little bit, but we really got help courtesy of the Detroit Red Wings to officially clinch us into the playoffs. So, yeah, thank you very much, Minnesota Wild. I will root for you against Dallas, which I already was doing, so it's not going to be that tough to continue doing so. Now the Canadiens game. A second half of a home and home. We were in Montreal tonight. I still think it should have been flipped. They're in Montreal for Saturday night hockey night in Canada, and then Sunday in Jersey. But you know what? Fair enough. The Bell Center needs a couple Sunday games, so I'm fine with it. Just as long as we have home games, I'm fine with that. We have 82 road games. Why not? I mean, 70 of those end up being Canadiens home games anyway, so yeah. We were playing the Jersey Devils again, much like we did last night, and this is probably going to be a bit of a shorter review. It's either going to be a very short review or a very long review, depending on how fired up I end up getting during the game. Let's get into the lines before anything talked about, aside from the game. Anything during the game, I should say. So the opening lines for the Canadiens were Caulfield, Suzuki, Slafkovsky, Newhook, Kapanen, Davidoff, Bolduc, Evans, Anderson, Veleno, Deneau, Gallagher. Up front, on the blue line, it's Matheson, Dobson, Struble, Hudson, and Gooley, Jackeye. And in net, it's Jacob Fowler, obviously getting the start, and Samuel Montembeault backs him up again, as he did last night for Dobesh. Just a way to guarantee if Fowler gets lit up early on, you don't have to go back to Jacob Dobesh, who again just played last night. You can get Sam Montembeault in there for the rest of the game. Just basically a security measure, which, understandable. The opening lines for the Devils were Bratt, Jack Hughes, and Brown, Meyer, Hischier, Mercer, Haminaho. Might have gotten that one a little bit better than I did last night. Glass, Bukestad, and McLaughlin, Cotter, Hallinan. So, again, basically the same rosters for both teams. On the blue line for the Devils, it's Siegenthaler, Hamilton, Luke Hughes, Kovacevic, Habs former player, Kovacevic, Dillon, and Nemec. Jacob Markstrom obviously gets the start tonight, and Jake Allen backs him up, as obviously he played last night. The Devils don't have 3 goaltenders, so they don't have anyone to put in the net if Markstrom sucks. Or I should say, they don't have anyone to put last. Fresh. All right, so the first period, because I already mentioned the before the game stuff, which was that we had already clinched. In the first period, the third line opens the game. The fans are chanting, "Go Habs, go early." The top line cheers. The top line comes out. The fans cheer for Cole. Matheson ends up putting Caulfield offside a couple minutes in. Newhook has a good hit on Cotter, who was a little bit slow to get up. He would remain in the game, though, thankfully for the Devils fans, I'm sure. They probably really like Paul Cotter. Devils lead the shots 2-0 from the opening minute. No shots for the next couple of minutes, though. It was, the game would end up being a very, very slow game, by the way. It was very low shot, very low effort, or very low event, I should say. Definitely very low effort from the Canadiens, at least. Up until the third period, weirdly enough. We hopefully are not getting back into that habit, because now is the worst time to do that. But, again, I will proceed with caution, as per usual. Veleno off a Danault steal in the slot gets saved by Markstrom. Or, I phrased that a little bit weird. Danault behind the net centers it for Veleno in the slot, but that gets saved by Markstrom. That's a little better. Gallagher has a shot after a whistle. That draws a little bit of a crowd. The Devils push. Bratt in front, but there's a glove by Fowler. Habs try to push, but Devils are shutting them down early. Again, they do a very good job of this up until the third period. Demidov nearly takes a Jesus, my apologies. Demidov nearly takes a hit up high. There's a good puck control and dangling from him to generate a chance. Kovacevic has a good stick to break up a pass to Slafkovsky, who would have been in all alone on a rush. Veleno has a one-timer just wide. Devils nearly get a 2-on-1 after Caulfield surprisingly turns it over. That does not happen much at all. Matheson and Dobson with some good D to stop that chance, though. Back the other way, the top line rush. Suzuki goes to Slafkovsky, but it's poked away by Jack Hughes. Good defensive play there. And at 9 minutes, the Canadiens go to a penalty kill. Gooley gets called for a trip. That sucks. Matheson can't clear. He immediately then does. Devils set up. Fowler holds a shot. Habs clear off the draw. The offense was running through Luke on that power play. There's one shot tipped wide. There's another one that goes out of play. Evans and Veleno have a good near 2-on-1 to kill some time. Veleno then has a good steal, but the shot gets saved, and the Habs are 1-for-1 on the penalty kill tonight. The Devils press. Hughes around the net. He ends up finding Meyer, who is not covered by Matheson, and he buries his own rebound. So Tamo Meyer makes it 1-0 Devils with 9:13 left in the first period. Meyer with his 24th of the year. He scores from Jack Hughes. Jack-Eye has 2 one-timers, but both missed the net. If his accuracy was there, Jack-Eye could be pretty solid. He might be good at getting some good shots on net and getting those deflections, getting tips going his way. Jack-Eye could be pretty solid. I honestly still think, turn him into a forward, you'd have a good fourth-line grinder there, in my opinion. That's what I think, at least. Devils try to press. They end up getting a rush after Matheson can't hold the line, but a Hughes shot is wide of the net. By the way, if I say Hughes, then just know that I mean Jack. I'll clarify if it's Luke. Spoiler, I don't say Luke that often because he's kind of irrelevant. There's a Struble shot saved by Markstrom. Struble had been looking pretty good recently, so shout out Struble. Hudson seems to bring out the best in him for some reason. The Habs press for the top line. Caulfield almost tips a Gooley shot, but Markstrom ends up seeing it all the way. Second line has a look. Kapanen in front shoots it wide. Matheson then crushes Meyer along the boards in the Habs zone. At least it looked like Meyer. That was solid. Devils push. There's a save on Hughes again. Off a puck battle. Galley. Good win there. Hudson's given some space. He finds Danault, who goes off the crossbar. Damn it. Good look there. Matheson has a slapper off the boards, but that's saved with a second left. Shots are 9-4 for the Devils, so not a ton of shots at all. The Canadiens with just 4, not too great. The Devils also have the 1-0 lead after the first period. In the second period, Evans has a look in front, but that's saved 5-hole on a backhand. Slafkovsky has a one-timer held. There's a Caulfield chance almost tipped by Slav. Matheson's slapper ends up breaking his stick. There's a Hudson shot held. Bukestad has a shot saved the other way. Habs enter the zone just to get held against the boards. They could not generate any offense early in the second. I say that despite those chances, but there was a good 3-4 minutes where they could not enter the zone. The Devils were very, very solid defensively in this game overall. Very good sticks, very good body positioning. They were just very good at blocking the Canadiens out for a good 90% of the game. Anderson then gets bitched off the puck by Luke Hughes. That's embarrassing. There's a top-line press. It ends up cleared. There's a puck that gets to Hudson on a near 2-on-1. The Habs end up getting a break there. There's a puck that finds Hudson as the Devils nearly have a 2-on-1. That was a bit of a typo on my end, but the Habs do get a break still. Fowler with a good sprawling save on Brad at 5 minutes. Shortly after, the Habs go to a power play. Matheson ends up getting held up during a near bobble by him, but he still gets the call. That is Hallinan going to the box, so his ice time is going to get cut pretty soon. He's called to for a hold at 6 minutes. Heishier comes in shorthanded. There's a good play by Hudson to break that up. Habs look for Caulfield, but the shot is blocked. As they cycle, it's a 2-on-1. There's a pass to Mercer, and good save by Fowler. Habs cycle looking for anything, but not finding Caulfield. Slav has a one-timer, but that's saved. The Habs 0 for 1 on the power play tonight. Hudson then goes to the box after a Devil's press. That's 2 for a high stick. It barely grazes Connor Brown, but it still does get called, unfortunately. Matheson has a clear. Devil's press, but there's a steal by Evans, and he clears. Anderson finds Deneau. There's a shorthanded, nice dangle. There's a 2-on-1 moments later. Matheson has a shot, but that's saved. He ends up going back into his own zone for Gooley to kill time. Habs are 2 for 2 on the penalty kill tonight. There's a shot gloved by Fowler after a Hudson drive to kill off an icing. Habs try to get the cycle going. Newhook has a shot just poked away by Cody Glass right in front. Top line comes out. Hudson gets boarded. There's no call. Hudson's held up the other way. There's no call. Devil's press. Habs had just 4 shots in the period, which, yes, ties them for the first, but you would expect as the game went on, the Canadiens could get better, which would not be the case. The Devils ice a puck with 4:14 left. Habs looking for a clear after a Devils press, and Cody Glass makes it 2-0 with 1:48 left. Matheson is out for yet another goal against. He is a -3 in his last 2 games. Would anyone mind telling me why Mike Matheson is more useful than Arbor Jacki? You can't. Exactly, that's what I thought. Habs had 0 response after the goals tonight. It was not looking good. The Canadiens did not have their legs. They really didn't try. It's not that they didn't try. They just weren't there mentally. I don't know if it's that they're so focused on playoffs now that it's like, okay, the rest of the games don't matter for the regular season, which, I mean, they really don't. It's really just positioning on if you want to have home ice advantage or if you're fine winning games in Buffalo instead to start the series. But yeah, it's more or less, it's tough probably for the guys as well, home and home. Again, you've clinched playoffs, so you don't really need to fight for anything aside from Cole getting 50 and Slav getting 30. And maybe Suzuki hitting 95, which final 5 games, he needs 5 points, so hopefully he can hit that. Gotta imagine he should be able to. And on top of that, like I said, just you don't really have to worry about the playoff game, about the regular season games now. You just go out there, kind of go through the motions, just try not to get hurt. It sucks, but I mean, you'd rather want your guys healthy for the playoffs rather than some meaningless regular season games at the end of the year. So, yeah. Shots are 15-8 for the Devils. They have a 2-0 lead after the second period. In the third period early on, Bolduc with a nice hard cross-check on Hughes. Good play there, and here we go. Hughes wants Bolduc. Kovacevic ends up dropping the gloves. Bolduc doesn't. Anderson goes at it with somebody. It's Connor Brown, actually. He goes at it with. Hughes is attacking Bolduc while the refs are holding down Bolduc. Hughes is just giving him rights. And, yeah, that's some pussy shit by Luke Hughes. Fuck you. No wonder you're the least talented of your family. So, yeah. The penalties coming out of that. So obviously Hughes is called 2 for cross-checking. I should say he retaliates with a cross-check that breaks Hughes' stick. So he's called 2 for the cross-check. He's called 2 for a rough on Bolduc. Anderson is called 2 for a rough on Connor Brown. And Jonathan Kovacevic is given a 10-minute misconduct for dropping his gloves and not Zach Bolduc. Bolduc doesn't, so obviously he's drawing a call, which he does. And obviously, again, Bolduc isn't a guy who fights, so kind of makes sense. So Habs, unfortunately, only have a 5-on-4. Would have liked it to be a 5-on-3 or an extended 5-on-4, but Josh Anderson had to be a fucking moron. So the Habs cycle on the power play, 50 seconds in, by the way. He shears a great stick on a pass to Caulfield. Devils clear to center twice as the Habs are trying to get anything early. Devils nearly have a 2-on-1, but a good D plays it right back in. Demidov has a shot, deflected out. The second unit comes out, and of course they got nothing. The Habs are 0 for 2 in the power play. There's a shorthanded 2-on-1 that also had gotten saved by Fowler late. Nothing for Montreal tonight. Devils ice a puck at 4 minutes. There's a Caulfield shot from the line that eventually gets gloved by Markstrom after a quick cycle. Dobson Slapper, Jesus, is held at 5 minutes. We needed a goal really soon. Second line has a press. There's a good pair of saves. Markstrom has one on Kapanen. Newhook has a shot just wide in front of the net. Demidov's almost can't get a stick on a pass through the crease. And the Habs eventually end up back on the power play at 6 minutes off of a no icing. And he's tripped up by Dougie Hamilton as he's looking for a puck that bounces off the net. Devils are trying to gift us the game at this point. The fact that the Canadiens could not... the fact that the Canadiens could not get anything tonight, I think is just purely pathetic, and also shows that the power play needs to change. There needs to be work done on the power play, and unfortunately you can't fire Alexander Burrows and take the easy route, because I'm pretty sure the power play is run by Marty, so I would say hire a new power play coach who isn't Alexander Burrows. Fuck, hire me for the power play. I'll do it. Shit, you can get me at a reduced salary probably. Suzuki has a one-timer saved. The top line's passing, but there's nothing high risk aside from a near Caulfield tip in front. Demidov holds a puck in, as does Hudson. Devils do eventually get 2 clears. Second unit comes out. They do get nothing. The Habs are 0 for 3 on the power play. Anderson tips a shot. That gets saved. The Devils press briefly. There's a save there. Caulfield on a rush has 2 good looks, but both go wide. Both kind of bobbling pucks, unfortunately. Demidov, good to hold the puck in. Again, the crowd is alive. They're trying to will the guys back in it. Down only by 2. You get 1. All of a sudden, it's a 1-goal game, and the game looks more feasible. Matheson and Dobson were out together fairly often. It almost seemed like they were trying to double shift them, but I don't think that they were. I think I was just noticing them more than I usually do. Matheson comes in offside after a puck that doesn't go for icing. The Habs tried to rush. Evans with a nice hit on Siegenthaler. And Anderson and Jack sandwich Jack Hughes. Brendan Dillon gets a little salty. And here we go. Anderson and Dillon. Andy drops the gloves, gives him some good shots, busts him open. Eventually, Andy pins him against the boards. Refs step in and say, all right, Dillon's learned his lesson. That's enough. And the Habs are going to do a power play with 7 minutes left. So the penalties, obviously, Dillon and Anderson both get 5 for fighting. Dillon's given the extra 2 for instigating. And as a result, a 10-minute misconduct. His night is finished. Get out of here, Brendan Dillon. You are a respectable depth defenseman who is very defensive with almost no offense, I feel like. The Canadiens need a goal on this power play. The Habs look for Caulfield. Demidov eventually has a one-timer that's saved. Devils clear. He sure has an ear 2-on-1, but he elects to just kill time. Slav in the slot gets saved off of a stick tie-up. Devils and there's a Devils clear that ends up in the bench. Second unit gets 2 minutes, not 2 minutes, like 20 seconds, if that. Habs are 0 for 4 on the power play. There's an empty net with 3:35 left. Brown hits it 10 seconds later, 3-0 game. Brown scores his 17th of the year. Oh, I should say Cody Glass scores his 17th of the year unassisted. Brown gets his 17th from Hughes and Bratt with 3:25 left. So, yeah. Also, weirdly enough, Brown at some point late gets a misconduct. I Didn't see for what, but with 54 seconds left, he got a misconduct. So I guess there's that. Again, I don't know what happened, but okay. So yeah, there's an empty net again with 3:10. It can't get worse now. I don't know why Marty pulled him with 3:30 left. I get you're down by 2, but like, Jesus Christ, there's aggressive, and then there's just plain stupidity. Patrick Waugh is the master of pulling the goalie with a lot of time left. Marty, you are not Patrick Waugh. Yeah. Caulfield has a shot, but it's a rolling puck. Second chance, and Markstrom squeezes. Caulfield passes to Suzuki, but there's no shot. Slav has a big hit on Brown at the line. Hudson has a hold at the line on a near Hughes empty net look. Fowler's back in with 40 seconds left. The Gallagher line comes out, so we're acknowledging that we're cooked. Gallagher ends up running down Markstrom's stick with 10 seconds left. Everybody knows that's not wasn't intentional. It was just something fun to end the game at least. So the Habs lose 3-0. The final shots 20-18 for the Devils. So the Canadiens tried at least. They outshoot the Devils 10-5, but they didn't look good in the process. So yeah, the 8-game winning streak unfortunately comes to an end. As great as it would have been to get the win tonight, obviously, at the very least get Cole's 50th. We are going to get the chance to rebound against Florida on Tuesday. We are on a 4-game homestand. We are on a 4-game homestand now, so it's Florida on Tuesday, Tampa on Thursday, and then Saturday it is, I gotta look this up real quick, my apologies, the Blue Jackets, yes, and then we're on the road for our final 2 games against the Islanders and the Flyers. So yeah, Canadians are clinched. You gotta think Caulfield has a chance at 60. You think he should be able to put up 3 at least on the Flyers and Blue Jackets apiece. So seriously though, you would think he could get at least 51, 52, should get at least 50. You would think at least the Blue Jackets game, he'll score, because it's a Saturday game, and it's at home. Mr. Saturday Night, you would think, should be able to score on Saturday night. So yeah, that does it for the actual game. Let's get into the stats very quickly, and then work our way on out of here. So Nick Suzuki obviously leads the Canadiens in points. He has 27 goals, 68 assists for 95 points. He snaps a 5-game point streak. Goal Caulfield, 49 goals, 36 assists for 85 points. He snaps a 5-game point streak. Lane Hudson, 12 goals and 62 assists for 74 points. Yaroslavsky, 29 goals and 38 assists for 67 points. Ivan Demidov, 17 goals and 43 assists for 60 points. He snaps a 5-game point streak as well. Noah Dobson, 12 goals and 34 assists for 46 points. He is on a 7-game pointless drought and a 19-game goalless drought. Oliver Kapanen, Ollie Caps, 22 goals, 15 assists for 37 points. He is on a 5-game pointless drought. Mike Matheson, 7 goals, 30 assists for 37 points. Zach Bolduc, 11 goals and 17 assists for 28 points. He is on a 6-game pointless drought. Alex Newhook, 12 goals and 11 assists for 23 points. Josh Anderson, 13 goals, 9 assists, 22 points. Zach Bolduc, by the way, 6-game pointless drought. I might not have said that, but I think I did. Anderson is on a 7-game pointless drought. Jake Evans with 11 goals and 11 assists for 22 points. He is on a 6-game pointless drought. Alexander Carrier, who is unfortunately still hurt, with 7 goals and 15 assists for 22 points. Brendan Gallagher, 6 goals, 16 assists for 22 points. He is on an 8-game pointless drought and a 19-game goalless drought. Alexander Texier, who is unfortunately still hurt, 8 goals, 12 assists, 20 points, and a 6-game pointless drought last time he played. Kirby Dach, who is unfortunately still hurt, 8 goals and 6 assists for 14 points, along with 1 point in his last 6 games. Jaden Struble, 2 goals and 10 assists for 12 points. Phil Deneau, 5 goals, 6 assists, 11 points, and 11 points and a 14-game pointless drought. Caden Gooley is on has 2 goals, 8 assists for 10 points. He is on an 8-game pointless drought. Sammy Blais, in his time with the Canadiens, had 2 goals and 3 assists for 5 points. Joe Veleno, 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points. He is on a 19-game pointless drought. Arbor Jacki with a goal and 2 assists for 3 points. He is on a 1-game pointless drought. Owen Beck had a goal and a 7-game pointless drought before he was sent back down to Laval. Patrick Laine, Florian Jacki, and Jared Davidson, who are both back in Laval, all have an assist this year. Arbor Jacki, the Sheriff, obviously leads the Canadiens with 7 fights. Josh Anderson has 3. Jaden Struble has 2. Brennan Gallagher, Kirby Doc, Caden Gooley, Joe Valeno, and Florian Jacki all have a singular fight this year as well. Jakub Debesch obviously leads the Canadiens goaltenders with a 27-8-4 record, a 2.73 goals against average, and a 904 save percentage. Samuel Montembeault has a 10-8-4 record, a 3.43 goals against average, and an 872 save percentage. And Jacob Fowler has an 8-6-2 record, a 2.52 goals against average, and a 904 save percentage, along with the lone shutout for the Montreal Canadiens this year. That is going to do it for this episode of HabWrap. Thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Hit the follow button if you're on Spotify, Amazon, wherever you might be listening to the podcast on. And please share the podcast with anyone who you think might enjoy listening, such as a fellow Montreal Canadiens fan, a hockey fan who's maybe looking for a Montreal Canadiens podcast, or someone who you think just might enjoy listening to some fat kid from Quebec talk about the Montreal Canadiens for half an hour after every game. So yeah, again, that is going to do it for this episode of the HabWrap. Once again, my name is Harry Rice, and always remember, no matter how good we were last year, how pretty good we are like this year, or how great we're going to be in the future, go Habs go, Adi Montreal, and say with me everybody, Celebrate!